In this video, we are going to discuss the study guide for the final exam, which appears to be on the 16th, that's Monday, and most likely it will be in C203 at 12 p.m. There appears to be a clash at the moment between 115 and B205. So I've made a suggestion to transfer it to C203 at 12 p.m. So the final exam appears to be on the 16th. So that's why in a previous video, you will notice I said that I've extended the submission date for the practice paper and the project to Wednesday the 18th, so that you can focus now on the evaluation. So now, with regards to the final exam now, there's a study guide in the electronic whiteboard. You go to the table of contents, page 24, that's where you'll find the study guides. Here you have the study guide for the final exam. Let's click on it. So here it is loading. So here I'm going to indicate to you all what you can do, how you can engage yourself to maximize your score in the final exam. You must be engaged. Now you need certain things to engage with. You need tools. Here I'm going to provide you with tools that you can use to practice for your final exam. Focus on what is there, nothing more, nothing less. Here is a YouTube. Please click on this YouTube, view it. You will be matching what is the qualitative data. You should know what is the qualitative data. Yes, the answer is in red. Qualitative data, number 5, 68 kilograms. Okay. Stratification, what is that about? It is matched to 3, selecting a random sample from each group. So you will be matching. Okay, so please learn this table. There will be variations according to the data, the variable, and so forth, but you will be doing some matching. Here you have the solutions in red. And here you have a YouTube explaining. So if you click on the YouTube, it's explaining question number 1. So you have visual and you have audio. Now you will be required to analyze the box and whiskers diagram. You will not be required to draw it. It will be very similar to test A. Okay. Box and whiskers will be provided, and you have to be able to analyze information from it. Here you have a video indicating to you how you can do that, or you can get the median, or you can get the range, etc., from a box and whiskers presented to you. And or you can do some comparative analysis. Okay, pay attention to the variable. Okay, if it's height or if it's time. Okay, here the variable is score. Okay, so the box and whiskers, where the box, if the box on the higher part, higher score, means that group did better. But if it's time, the group that have less time did better. So please pay attention to the variable. More score, better. Less time, better. Okay, please bear that in mind. When you scroll lower down, here you have a YouTube video. Please check it out. You have some true and false, and you have a little bit of multiple choice. Okay. Please study these questions. Here the solution is in red. Do some little reading and so forth. For example, which of the following is false? Correlation coefficient, that's rho, that's Spearman's. and as Pearson's, they are both correlation coefficient. Either one cannot be more than 1. So that is why this is false. You cannot have a correlation coefficient 1.03. The scale is between -1 and 1. All of this is explained in the video. Okay, so the video have visual as well as audio, and the audio have more explanations again. All right. Then lower down, you will be completing a table like this. Those of us who have done test B will be familiar with this table. You will be repeating such a question in the final exam. So you can use this information, do it again. Also, you can use your practice paper, your test B, or you can also use your practice paper B. Not or and, because the more you practice, the better to complete a table like this. You'll be receiving a table like this in the final exam. You don't have to do both methods, method 1 or method 2. So focus on a method. I see some persons full both columns. You don't have to full both columns. Either or. Okay? Either you choose method 1 or method 2. Okay, to find the variance and standard deviation. Scroll lower down. Pearson's product moment. You will be completing a table like this in the final exam. Also, a Pearson's product moment. The table will be provided and you have to complete it just like how you did in test B. Okay, and here you have a recording of how this was done. Also, you have the weekly notes. Also, you have the recordings in the electronic whiteboard. Okay, if you go to the page where the recordings are, the video links, here you have sampling techniques, stem and leaf, box and whiskers. Okay, cumulative frequency graph, scatter plot, mean for auditor, median for auditor, mode for auditor, variance and standard deviation for auditor. Someone asking me, sir, we need to go over the median for group data. Here you have recordings for median for group data. All this is for auditor. Here it is, median for group data. Here it is. Okay, apart from the weekly notes. Okay, mode for group data, Spearman's. Pearson's product moment, here it is. Okay, for group data. Apart from these recordings, you can use the weekly notes also. Okay, if you go to the weekly notes, it also can be found in the weekly notes. Okay, the video format. Scroll lower down. So you have collecting and representing data, data analysis, decision and conclusion, hypothesis testing. You'll be doing a z-test for mean. Here is a recording how it was done. And you know where you can get other recordings to do a z-test for mean. Okay. Chi-square test for randomness. All that is hypothesis testing. Here are the solutions and the recording. And discrete probability analysis. So chi-square test for no association will not be there in the test. So practice chi-square test for randomness, which is very similar to chi-square test for variation. The only difference, you don't have to calculate the E. Okay, so practice chi-square test for randomness and variation. For randomness, you have to calculate E. but for variation, you don't have to calculate E, and then the rest of the steps is very much identical. So there is no chi-square test for no association. Don't invest time practicing chi-square test for no association. It will not be in the test. Focus on what is there. Then you have the discrete probability distribution. That's probabilities now. Here are the solutions, here are the recordings, and you know where to get other recordings. And the contingency table. Chi-square test using the contingency table will be in the final exam. You'll be given the table. You may have to complete the total and the grand total, and then to get your probability values. And that's it. The tree diagram will not be there. Okay? And the algebraic approach will not be there. Okay, so you can use this guide, update Math 1-to-1, update 1 Math 1-to-1 final exam practice 2025 to prepare for your final exam, which is on the 16th. Focus on what is there. Okay. As you can see, there are similar elements for those that have not done test A and B yet, or either one or the other, or those that have done the retest. You can also practice what is there in that practice paper. So you killing 2 birds or 3 birds with 1 stone. You'll be practicing for your test C, sorry, or test B. You'll be practicing for tests, which one, A, B, or C, either one. And also you'll be practicing for your final exam. And also you'll be advancing on your research project. But mainly, if you practice this document, you'll be preparing both for your tests and your final exam. So invest a lot of time in that document. Okay? It is very pertinent, both for your tests and your final exam. All right? And what is not there that is in the test, use the study guide for the test. Okay? So please engage with this document to practice for your final exam.